Hey, I'm Doug McAllister, and this is Stories I Didn't Get to Tell Last Sunday. This is the weekly podcast from Journey Fellowship Church, and each week we feature a guest to tell us some great stories that we think would be of great interest to you. Today we have with us John Taylor. He's been at Journey and been friends together for, almost 25 years, John?
Yes.
Something like that. So we've been together 25 years. In fact, we got a lot of stories we want to tell today. We're going to tell you stories about the Beatles, the Bible, and bobbleheads. Well, not really bobblehead. I needed one more B to make it sound good. So
That's right.
The first two are true. Beatles and the Bible are a huge part of our story today.
Yes.
But we got a lot of other stories. We can talk about Matthew McConaughey. We're going to talk about your meeting Paul McCartney. We're going to talk about what God has done through you and your family at Journey. So there's lots of good stuff to talk about today. So I want to just start with a story that I find intriguing, and they're all so good, John. I was in a video store a few years ago, and I picked up a DVD of Matthew McConaughey's movie.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, exactly. Dallas Buyers Club. I turned it over, and you were on the back cover.
I know.
You were one of the stars of the movie, man.
I am.
I know, right? You're like an international film star, dude. So tell me a little bit about how you got that role in Dallas Buyers Club. With
Okay,
Matthew
so
McConaughey.
I started a new job.
Yeah.
I tore my rotator cuff,
Yeah.
and it was a disaster. And I'm like, I had an operation. I couldn't work for 3 months.
Right.
Couldn't play guitar, which is another part of my income.
Because you're a bass player.
That's right.
And you have your own band, too, that we
I
need to
do.
talk about a little bit.
Yes.
You guys are still playing?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're called
The Meanies.
the Meanies. And I want you to tell us a little bit later how the Meanies got their names.
Okay.
I know, but I want the audience to know.
Okay.
But anyway, so you tore your rotator cuff.
Yeah.
You had 3 months off work, and you were...
And no playing bass.
And you
so
were trying to figure
all
out-
my income was
Yeah.
knocked out. So
how are we going to make a living for 90
I'm
days?
like, yeah, I know. So,
All right, so what happened?
So I figured out that, I used to do a little backup acting where you make about $100 a day. So
Yeah.
I said, well, I only need one arm. I could do that.
Yeah.
I just let it hang.
Be an extra?
Put the sling, be an extra.
Right.
Keep the sling in the car and go ahead. Yeah. So I did that. I went there and
They were filming in New Orleans?
yes, they were in New Orleans. And so long story short, I ended up being a customs agent.
Yeah.
And they put somebody at the first spot by the camera, and then I went to the second spot, and then the director walked over and switched us.
Yeah.
And actually told me to speak,
So he just...
which is very rare.
So
because
on just a whim, he traded you out with the guy
on
with
a
the speaking
whim,
role
on a whim.
and gave you a line in the movie,
gave me a
which
line in
is
the movie, which
rare
is-
because that means you're
it's-
cut in with
That's right.
royalties and everything that goes along with that.
And believe me, I know many people with agents, and they can't. It's almost impossible
to get a line.
to even get a line.
Yeah.
It's called the day player.
And you get picked on the spot.
I just no.
I bet that guy that you took his place is
Yeah,
probably...
he still has a contract out for me.
I bet he was pretty ticked, man. So you get moved over to the first spot.
Right.
And did you get a script, or they just told you what
No,
to say?
they just I just ad-libbed.
Okay. And what was your line?
It was just I was asking him for his paperwork.
Yeah, so Matthew's going through, his character's going through customs.
Yeah.
And you're the customs agent.
Right.
So you ask him for his passport or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so did the director give
And
you
if you see the movie, you can see my right arm's just hanging.
to the side?
Doing everything with the left hand because I can't move it. It's but I had to stamp it.
Yeah.
I had to stamp it, so I just I bit the dust. And
Yeah.
I stamped
Yeah,
it.
did the director give you any special direction? Did he
No.
ask you any questions if you had experience traveling or anything like that?
Yeah, he did. He said,
Oh, did he?
He said, "You've been out the country." At the time, I wasn't, but I lied. Well,
every good actor.
let's say I was acting.
Yeah, you weren't lying. You were just acting.
You've been out the country.
So he
before?
said, have you been
Sure.
out of the country? And you said, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been out. Sure.
Yeah, if by country you mean Slidell, yeah.
Yeah. I've been to Chalmette.
Yeah.
I've been all over the
I've
place.
been across the bridge. Yeah. All right, so you got your line. Matthew came up.
So and I don't know why when the movie came out, my picture was on the back.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah,
just
of all
really
of the frame
almost,
they could have used as a still
I
shot.
know, because
They
it's
picked
just a little spot.
Yeah, because you're so handsome. That's
not that.
That's probably it. Yeah. So all those years you were extra. You were an extra for $100 a day, and all of a sudden now you got a speaking role, and you get the good money, and you get residuals. So
That's
man,
right.
What a great.
So I made about $4,000.
Yikes!
But that was just
Some nice
and that
day's
all.
work.
The thing is, it all happened because I tore my rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Which was a disaster. So a lot of times, God moves us.
Yeah.
A disaster it wound up being a blessing, because at the same time that I was out, the book came about also.
Yeah. So we can transition into this book. So John's also a published author. It's called Wings Over New Orleans, John Taylor. So you're making movies. You're writing books. Man, you're like an international celebrity, bro.
No, I'm not.
You're making movies with Matthew McConaughey, writing books about Paul McCartney. So let's go back 50 years now, John.
Sure.
So back in the 70s, which was a long time ago. Of course, you're still a young man.
I was.
So back in 1975, tell us how you met Paul McCartney and kind of what led up to that.
Okay, so the Beatles were a big influence because I played music since I was 10.
Yeah.
I played guitar, and when the Beatles came out, I was about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And it was a big influence because they were the biggest group.
What year were you born?
53.
All right, so the Beatles came out in
64.
Yeah,
So
yeah, the biggest band in the history of the 20th century.
yeah.
And probably still today.
So I was, it was like, that's it.
Who else is alive besides Paul McCartney on the Beatles?
Ringo.
Ringo's still alive.
Yeah, I think he's 81.
Yeah, and Paul McCartney must be 80.
78.
Yeah, he's close. Yeah.
78.
Wow. And those
Somewhere
are
around
the last two surviving, if you don't count Pete Best.
He's still alive.
I know, but man, imagine being Pete Best, huh?
I know.
Yeah, that close to.
I know.
Yeah. I wonder,
unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, that'd be a great thing to explore. Just how sometimes things happen in life that, it may have been for the best for him. Who knows what really?
That's right.
What really turned out in his life?
That's right.
Look what happened to John Lennon, and so who knows? But anyway, so you heard the news.
So I heard that he was coming.
Heroes are
Paul
coming.
McCartney's coming to New Orleans to record an album,
Right.
And I knew of a few studios.
Yeah.
So I was going to check with one studio to find out when he's coming.
How'd you hear that he was coming?
The girl I was dating's mother heard it on the news or something.
Oh, so it was
or read it in the paper or
it
something.
was public knowledge. It wasn't like a secret.
No, it wasn't a secret, but it wasn't big news.
But they didn't say
she
where
said,
he was going.
No, they didn't
So
really
you
say.
had to stalk him, kind of.
Yeah, she said that, Paul McCartney's coming to do an album in New Orleans. And I said, are you serious?
The Paul
kidding
McCartney?
me?
Yeah. So this is 75.
I just wanted to get a glimpse.
Yeah, so you're in your 20s.
Yeah, and maybe take a picture
Yeah.
or something.
All right, so how'd you find which studio to go to?
So I didn't. I was going to check each studio. So the first one I checked was C Saint in Gentilly, and I went and I pulled in the parking lot, which holds 5 cars.
Oh, wow. It's a tiny
And
little
I'm the
parking
only
lot.
one in the parking lot because they had the building next door too, and that's where they parked.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one in the parking lot, and I was thinking about going to knock on the door. How can I say, is this where Paul McCartney's going to do his album?
Hey, is Paul here?
Yeah, is this where the Beatles going to be?
Yeah.
So I actually chickened out
Yeah.
to shorten it a little bit, and I sat there. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I started my car. A car pulled on side of me. I looked over, and it was Paul McCartney driving and Linda.
Wow.
Sitting
Just pulled up
shotgun.
next to you in the next slot.
He just went, and I went like, wait, this don't make sense.
You think there'd be an entourage?
What? Are you kidding me?
You think there'd be a security guard or something?
Yeah, I thought there would be like bodyguards and
Yeah.
helicopters and police and all that.
He just rolls in
He
by
just
himself, him and his wife.
driving around.
Yeah.
Him and his wife.
So the Beatles are already broken up by now.
Yeah.
So was he already forming Wings, or was it?
That is when he was forming it.
Gotcha.
He did a couple of solo albums, and then he was putting Wings together.
Yeah, Paul McCartney and Wings.
And he wanted the New Orleans influence.
Yeah.
So
on the album.
so I got out and spoke to him, and then he was there for probably 2 months.
Wow.
And
we lived here.
We would go like every day.
Yeah.
Every day, and we knew what time he went, what time he got out. He would
So
come.
y'all would just wait out. Y'all meaning who else? People you knew or just strangers?
No, I didn't really.
Yeah.
I met people there.
Yeah. So being outside the studio for 2 months, he must have gotten to know you.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen this every day.
Yeah.
He's sick of it. I wish these people would leave. Goodness gracious.
Did you ever
stalking
meet?
me.
Did he ever call you by your name? You ever talk?
Oh, we would talk. Yeah, we'd talk.
All right. So
He was like a
hello, John.
really
That's
regular
my
guy.
best
Yeah,
British accent.
that's right. Yeah.
Hello, John.
How you doing this fine morning? In fact, that's what the
Really?
first thing he said to me. How you doing this fine morning? I said, man, you all right. I
Yeah.
hope so by now.
And then he started calling you John. Dude,
Yeah,
y'all
after a
became
while, I was like,
friends.
hey, man, what's up?
Yeah.
You know?
So you went almost every day, and some of the other people heard
Yeah.
about it, started coming.
And they did too, yeah.
Yeah. How big did the crowd get outside?
Well, at first it was me,
Yeah.
and then it was maybe 3 people,
Yeah.
and then maybe 5, and then I think the biggest it got was 15 to 20.
Oh, so it was just a small little group.
yeah,
then,
a small
huh?
group.
Wow.
They would stand out there, and
Yeah.
he'd pull up, and he'd sit out and talk.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned to me one time a story about the guy that tried out to be his drummer.
Yeah.
I think you should tell that story if you got.
So there was a guy that showed up, and
So
he had long hair and a beard, and he says, we introduced, he says, I'm going to audition for his band. I said, really?
So
Wow.
he came to the studio.
Yeah, he did. He came from Alabama.
He came from Alabama. Yeah. Tell us, they called him and he didn't have any money,
Yeah, he was broke.
Kind of do that whole backstory.
He was broke. And I heard this story from him later.
All right, tell it.
Okay, so I think he was collecting empty bottles.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, I mean, he was just dead broke.
Yeah.
And somebody called him and said, McCartney's in New Orleans and he needs a drummer.
Yeah.
And this guy had a reputation of being an excellent drummer.
Yeah.
So they said, why don't you come on down? He said, well, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
All the money we'll pay you back
Wow.
when you get here.
Oh, my gosh.
So he got there, and we were speaking to him outside. And he
Yeah.
says, I'm going to audition for his band.
So this guy's long haired,
Good luck. Yeah.
dead broke, had to borrow money to get there, and he's
Yes.
trying out for the new band that Paul's forming.
Right.
Paul McCartney and Wings. Which,
Well, he
of
wants to
course-
work on that album.
Yeah.
He didn't have a drummer. He said, well,
need a
somebody
drummer.
know a good drummer. Yeah. So
Somebody knew.
he started recording, and by about the 3rd song, he says, man, you want to join my band?
Oh, my word.
I
Get
said,
out.
yeah. So I believe, I'm not sure about the amount. I think Paul gave him like $35,000. He said, here, catch up on your bills and hang around. Let's finish the album. And then they went
What?
They went on tour. And
Wait, stop. This guy
go
goes
ahead.
from collecting Coke bottles
to $35,000 in
and
1975.
75 money,
Yeah.
and he made the band
He made the band.
and goes on tour with.
Paul McCartney and Wings.
That has to do a job to your head, man. Just
know.
it had to be head games, man.
Yes,
Yeah, if you go from dead broke to playing drums for Paul McCartney overnight.
I know.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah, so he traveled.
So he went on tour with him and Wings over America and did a few albums with him and everything. But
What was his name? Do you remember?
Joe English.
So Joe English from
Joe
Alabama,
English from Alabama.
unknown drummer, collecting Coke bottles, gets selected to be on Paul McCartney's band.
Yeah.
So what happened to him? Is he still playing?
So then, this is the testimony from him later.
Okay.
Because he did drugs and things, and
That's unusual.
he had a sports car,
Yeah.
and his wife got in a car accident, and she got paralyzed from the neck down.
Holy cow.
And he didn't know what to do. He said, I just don't know what to do. So some people from a church came, and they said, we want to bring her to a Bible study, and we're going to pray over her and do that kind of thing. And he said, Joe, you want to come? And he didn't want anything to do with the Bible study. So I think he said he went to go eat pizza.
Wow.
So pizza, other than the Bible study.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable.
Hopefully it was good.
Yeah. That's been really good pizza, man.
So, but when he came home, his wife was, she got healed at that Bible study.
So she
according
went
to him.
from paraplegic or quadriplegic?
She was paralyzed from the neck down.
So all 4 limbs were paralyzed.
She was, I don't know, but she was running up and
And
down
she
the
got
stairs.
miraculously healed at
Miraculously
this Bible
healed.
study.
She was running up and down the stairs when he got
Come
home.
on, Jesus.
And he freaked out.
I guess so.
And he dropped his knees, started crying. And
Holy.
so Joe English is a pastor today.
Yeah.
I don't know where, but you could look him up. It's Joe English.
Joe English, former drummer.
He
with
doesn't
Wings.
play. Yeah, he doesn't play drums anymore, but he's a pastor.
Preaching the gospel. Yeah.
Yeah, preaching the gospel.
Man, what a great story.
Great.
Inside of the other story. All right, back to the other story now.
Okay.
So you're hanging outside of the studio talking to John. Talking
Paul.
to Paul.
Paul.
And he's calling you John, y'all on first name basis. And you stay out there for
2 months.
2 months. Yeah. And
Probably,
What,
somewhere around
what album were they working on? Do you remember?
Venus and Mars.
Oh, wow. That was pretty big.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
very
huge.
big.
Yeah.
Some good songs on there.
Yeah. So, and you got to meet his wife?
Yeah.
Linda. Now,
me and Linda there.
Yeah. I see the photo. John, you look so young in that photo. Oh my word. Yeah, you were in your 20s. You're like a boy.
20s, yes.
Yeah, you're like a boy. Of course, Linda tragically has already passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, but she was married to Paul.
And then this is a picture of me and Paul there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the studio in the background.
Yeah. Look at you. I like the really wide tie you got on there, man.
Yeah, that's I was so even then I was out of style.
He was a fashion statement back then, man. Look at you and Paul McCartney. And he's a little older than you. He's probably what, in his 30s here?
He was in his 30s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. And Linda, and later you met Sean Lennon, huh?
Just for a moment.
Yeah.
That wasn't like this.
Yeah.
I met Paul. I talked to Paul. I had met Sean.
Yeah.
That's John and Yoko's son.
Yeah, Sean. And he's still recording too?
He is, yes.
Yeah.
He does.
All right. So this is such an amazing story. You get to meet Paul McCartney. You're there in the city. Fast forward now, a couple decades later, you're on social media and somebody asks a question. Does anybody know the Beatles? Tell us how all that came about that led to the book.
Yeah, so I was, somebody on Facebook or whatever said, I want to know if anybody ever met a Beatles. So I told them the little story.
Yeah.
So I met
this
a Beatle.
Story here.
Yeah. And so I sent a couple of pictures. And
yeah.
That person ended up being connected to the Beatles, and he lived in Liverpool, and that's where they're from.
Oh, so he was friends with the Beatles.
Not friends, but connected.
Okay, just relational.
In a way.
Yeah, got it.
But he said, man, can I use your story? I want to do a book.
Yeah.
The Beatles and Me. And so he took these different stories of people that met.
Yeah.
And he put them together, and mine was featured in the middle.
Yeah.
And then he said, I want to do another book when this is done, and I want to feature. I want to do the whole story of you.
Oh, wow.
Because I had so many stories about it.
Yeah, because you were there during the formation of Wings. That's a pretty crucial time for Paul McCartney's career, man. He was leaving the Beatles and forming a new band, and you were right on the front line.
I was stalking him.
Yeah, you were stalking him way back then. And
no, we were just hanging out.
And you were already playing the bass on your own.
Oh yeah. I played since I'm 10.
Right.
I'm 21 now, so that's 11 years.
Yeah. Add a few zeros.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Please,
You've been playing a long time.
A couple of hundred.
I want to get to in a minute. You were the first bass player at Journey when we started.
I was.
In 1996.
1996.
Yeah.
I was young then too.
Yeah, I know, John. You've been around the world.
Yeah.
Man. So, and let me just divert for a second now thinking about it. So your band that you lead currently is called
The Meanies.
The Meanies. All right, tell us a little bit about The Meanies, how you formed it, why you named it that. And
okay, when I moved to Slidell, and I was looking at getting I was trying to get up a band actually.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get them out my shed.
Yeah.
We would rehearse. But a friend of mine called me up and said, they got a band called the Blue Meanies playing in Mandeville, and I think they do a lot of Beatles, and I know you like the Beatles. Mm-hmm. So I went to go see them.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they were
recruited
really,
you?
really good.
Yeah.
Really good, and did a lot of Beatles.
Yeah.
So when they took a break, I said, look, y'all ever need a bass player?
Yeah.
I said, I love this music, the whole works.
Yeah.
I'll be glad. They said, well, the problem is the lead player and the bass player are brothers.
Yeah.
And it's their band.
Oh.
So it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I said, well, okay, that's
Thanks.
fine. So months later, maybe 6-8 months later, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. He goes, this band, the Blue Meanies, needs a bass player.
So the brother left?
You ever heard of him? No. The brother, he's a doctor.
Yeah. So,
and he started getting busy with that. And so they wanted a substitute.
Just in case.
When he couldn't make it, they wanted a sub.
That makes sense.
Said, would you be interested in that? I said, yeah, I sure would.
Beatles, music.
So I went and I auditioned for him.
Yeah.
And I made it. And then we started rehearsing. He said, oh, man, let's start rehearsing. So after about a month, they said, look, you're going to be our bass player, and he'll play whenever he wants.
Yeah.
So I wound up the bass player.
Yeah.
So that's about 21 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
So I was in that band for 10 years.
Yeah.
that band broke up, and so we had 10 years invested. We said, well, we don't want to throw away all of that.
Yeah.
So we changed the name to the Meanies because it was different people.
Yeah.
2, 3 of the originals, but
right. Tell us where the name Meanies.
So it's a Beatle name because they did a cartoon movie called The Yellow Submarine.
Right.
We all live in the Yellow Submarine. They did,
sure,
a full-length movie, and the Blue Meanies were these evil characters in the movie that hated music.
Yeah.
And so they got the Beatles and Sgt. Pepper, and they were trying to get rid of these Blue Meanies. So that's where the name comes from. There's actually a famous band called the Blue Meanies.
Because inspired by the movie.
Yeah, but that was the name of the band when I joined it, so I had nothing to do with that.
But it's cool. It's a cool name.
Yeah.
So you just kind of adopted it and became the Meanies.
Yeah, so we just kind of shortened it because we didn't want to, since it was different people.
Are you guys still playing?
We still playing,
You're still active?
So we're going to be... We'll be playing at Bowie's in Bay St. Louis August 7th.
Oh, man.
From 4 to 8.
Yeah.
That's old people hours.
Yeah, this is going to air after that, so people missed it already. So
that's
unfortunately.
Good.
But you play often, so even if it's later on.
Yeah, we there pretty regular. And if you go to my Facebook page, I just put why we play.
You're John Taylor on Facebook?
Yeah, John Taylor.
Yeah, so they can find out.
International.
All right, now we left the book. Let's go back to finish that story. All right, so this guy on Facebook asked you a question. Has anybody met the Beatles? You say yes. You tell him his story. He put your story in his book. Mm-hmm. So how'd that lead to your book?
So then he was going to do my book, but I said, I thought that he was all the way in England, and I thought it might be a little smart to try to get somebody a little more local, a publisher. So he had the idea. I said, let me pitch the book.
Yeah.
So I pitched it, and they called me up one day and said, yeah, we'd like to do your book. And I got the biggest knot in my stomach.
So a local publisher bought your idea?
Yes.
Wow.
A big publisher, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pelican.
Yeah, because you've done book
so what I did was
I
put together stories. I got in touch with the people that were there that I met. And each one has their little story of how they met Paul.
Yeah.
And just like the other book.
Yeah.
And so that's different testimonies of the people. It's kind of neat.
And a lot of pictures, too.
Pictures,
Yeah, can people still get a copy of this book?
They had pictures. They can still get that. If you look it up, Wings Over New Orleans, I think Amazon has it.
Okay. Still available.
Or Barnes & Noble can order it.
Yeah, anywhere books are sold.
I think.
Yeah, probably so. So
I did look it up the other day just to see if it was still up.
Yeah, you've done some book signings. I see you got some.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
At first.
Wow. Yeah, movies,
music,
publishing. Man,
I just,
John,
I'm not trying to be anybody. It's just I get bored.
The first time I met you was end of 1996. Mm-hmm. We had just planted the church. Journey was just weeks old, and you and Janet came to church one Sunday, and your two daughters, and they were both little girls at the time.
Right.
They were, teenagers or maybe even adolescents. They were young, 10 and 12,
maybe even less,
13, something like that. So y'all came to church to visit. Y'all were kind of fill us in on how you wound up coming to visit our church.
So we had a church, and we had a tight little group of about 20, 25 people, and we fellowshiped together.
Yeah.
And we were all non-denominational, interdenominational. Yeah. And the church, the building where we were going was owned by a denomination, and we had a pastor who was non-denominational.
Yeah.
So the denomination was getting their building back.
I see.
And our pastor was stepping down. So we were looking for a pastor. Since we had that core group, we were looking for a pastor and a building. We were going to rent a building, hire a pastor.
Kind of plan a new church. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we had...
Yeah, you had 30 people.
We had the body already. Mm-hmm. Everybody, we liked each other.
You already had a church. You just needed a place
we had
to
a church.
meet.
Yeah, we just needed the building.
Yeah.
And so somebody had told us that there was an old building on 190, old warehouse, and they thought it was a church. You know, it was a church. So we said, we'll go check it out. So that's when we showed up.
Yeah.
We showed up, and I don't know, how many people did y'all have in there?
25 or 30.
About 25 or 30 people.
It was just a handful. It was an old warehouse that we lovingly called the Aluminum Cathedral.
Aluminum Cathedral?
Because it was just an aluminum shed with concrete floors.
Concrete floors.
Yeah, it was just
folding chairs.
as simple as it could be, man.
But it was good. It was great.
We set out some chairs, and we built a little stage, and we had church, man. Mm-hmm. So we were a few weeks old, and you walk in the door. And Rachel, I think Rachel was playing keyboards that day, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Blake was singing.
Yeah, Blake was leading worship.
Somebody on drums.
And we had a drummer. I don't remember who it was.
His father had an air conditioning company.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was now. It's been a while. It's been so long ago. But anyway, we had a little band, and Rachel had bought a bass guitar, and it was standing on the stage there. And she said, I'm gonna just trust God for our bass player." You know, so we had no idea we was gonna get a movie star, author, musician to walk in to our little aluminum
Yo, did you
shack.
get that? Gee, I want to see. I want to meet him.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. Yeah.
So what happened was we went and we loved it. My kids loved it, and we just said, "Oh God, this is great."
Yeah.
So we called up the gang and said, "Hey man, we found a church.
Yeah.
We found the building. We found the pastor. We don't even have to pay him."
Yeah.
I mean, golly, it's
deal
all
ever,
in
man.
one, man. Golly.
Yeah, we should all go. So next Sunday,
So the next Sunday, yeah, a whole gang of them came.
You brought 20 or 30
They all
people
liked
with
it.
you.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
They showed up.
Yeah, you doubled the size of our church in 1 week, man.
Gee
You were
whiz.
the best evangelist that we've ever had. We had 100% growth in 1 week, man.
Wow.
I remember when y'all came back and you people kept coming in and coming in. I'm thinking, who is this guy, man?
Oh no!
It's just filling up. So we had like maybe 50 chairs out that day, and they were almost all full.
Oh, it was
It was
great.
like we couldn't even believe it,
Great.
man. We were
And
like,
everybody that came loved it
and stayed.
and stayed.
Yeah, some for
They
years.
loved it. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We got close to
And
a
it
lot
started
of them.
growing. And
Yeah,
the church
yeah.
went
That
through.
really became a spark for our church to really grow, man, because it kind of took on some momentum right then and some life of its own, And
But it had to start, and you started it.
God really used you, and you didn't tell us immediately that you played the bass.
No, I did not. I
kept
wanted
that
to make
secret.
sure that I wanted to stay at the church before.
You
Because
didn't
I
wanna-
knew once they found out I played bass that I'd be on stage.
Make sure I wasn't whacked. Yeah,
So-
unfortunately, I was.
So after a while, I said, "Hey, do you know I play bass?"
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Rachel
was.
recruited you pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you're the original bass player.
I am the original.
At Journey, man. 25
right.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been there with us the whole time, man. Through hell and high water, as we say.
It's been good.
Yeah.
And we put
Katrina
out.
brought us in 30 feet of water. You stayed.
I stayed. I could swim.
Oh, that's great.
And we did some excellent music.
Yeah.
Oh,
I still got
yes.
some of the albums,
I did
DVDs that you guys made back before Katrina, man.
Oh yeah, the DVDs. I have that too.
I got some of the CDs also.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple that are still in shrink wrap.
Wow.
Because we lost a lot of the stock during the hurricane because
Right,
we lost
right.
all of our stuff, but somehow we had a few rescued out of it that we found here and there. Those are sweet, man. To go back and
That's
listen
good.
to all
And
those
I listened
voices.
to 'em. I
You
listened to 'em.
and
They
Rachel
still
and,
great.
and Blake and all the.
In fact, I just made one of your members. She said that she listens to the Night of Worship
Yeah,
that we did live.
right.
And I said, I have that on DVD. She goes, "Are you kidding
I
me?
didn't know you had
I
that
just
still.
I do.
John, I want to see that.
Oh, I'll make you a copy.
Man, I want to see that. I'd like to maybe, our 25th birthday as a church is coming up in October, and I'm looking for some old footage. So,
Oh, that yeah, I have
need a
that. I
copy
have
of
that
that,
whole
man.
thing.
because we had just moved into the John Jay Center,
Yes,
and we had,
Yes.
remodeled the DH Homes
yeah.
building, and we had like a 600 or
it's
700
excellent.
seat
And the sound
auditorium.
is excellent.
Man,
it's
yeah.
great. Oh yeah.
And I think
I'll
Mark
bring it to
Hewitt,
you.
did
Son.
Mark Hewitt do the recording? Yeah. So
Well,
was it Mark or somebody? Who was that?
Mark probably did the sound, but that we had that guy who did the videos.
Oh yeah, but I thought Mark did the mixing though on the.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. On all.
Oh my gosh, it was so good, man.
Yes, it is.
Holy cow! I want to see that. In fact, I want to show it in October.
I'm gonna give you a
on
copy.
Sunday
You'll
morning
have
at
it.
Journey. We're gonna do some
Oh,
clips
cool.
of our, the 25 years, and man, that would play right
That's
into
awesome.
to celebrate our 25th birthday. So you guys came along, 25 years ago, and really helped us plant the church. And I found out that you've been a believer a long time. I'd like for you to tell your testimony.
Okay.
Tell me how you got saved, what led you to Christ, your family. Kind of just give us, your story.
I was raised a Catholic, and I was an altar boy, and so I believed. As I got older, and you get around friends.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to do this. This is cool. No, man, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. And so, I got to a point where I really wasn't sure what I believed in anymore, and so then. Certain things happened in my life. I got a little bitter toward God and things, and I didn't really understand. If you don't understand grace, I didn't think I could live holy.
How old were you when all this was taking place?
I was in my probably early 20s.
Okay.
Early 20s.
So you're still you got your crisis of faith going on. You're not sure what you believe.
And I was a disaster.
Yeah.
My life was, I looked like I had it all together on the outside, on the inside.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. So it's before you got married.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I was never going to get married.
Oh, is that right?
I hung out and partied.
Yeah.
That was my life.
Yeah.
So.
Were you working or were you music full time?
I was working and stuff and playing in bands and things. And
yeah. Now, you're from the city? You're from New Orleans?
I'm from New Orleans.
That's where you grew up?
Yeah.
What part, what neighborhood did you grow up in?
Gentilly.
Oh, you grew up in Gentilly?
From Gentilly,
Oh, man, you're like a New Orleans boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can probably tell with the accent.
What church did you go to? What Catholic church were you in?
Well, I was St. Leo, St. Annunciation, St. Raphael, those, I went to those Catholic schools too.
All the same schools?
So then when I got out, and then, we'd hang out in bars and drink and do all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so I got to the point where, everybody knew friends knew I was suffering. So somebody invited me to a Bible study.
There's those Bible studies, man. Always.
I don't remember where, but they said, why don't you come to the Bible study?
Yeah.
And so I said, I will, but I was going to go out afterwards.
Yeah.
So I went to the Bible study and
pass through.
Then this guy cornered me.
Yeah.
On the way out.
Yeah.
He said.
Always that guy.
He said, if you leave here tonight, you get in a car accident and die.
Who?
You sure you're going to heaven?
Yeah.
Said, not exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to make sure?
Yeah.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. I'm going to chance it one more night.
Maybe next week.
Yeah.
No, so I was like, I'm looking around. I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? This guy's got me cornered.
Yeah.
So he said, we can go in the yard and pray.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man, this guy's not going to leave me alone.
I got to pray with
Go pray with him in the yard.
Yeah.
So we went in the yard, and I'm looking to make sure no neighbors are looking.
Yeah.
So he's holding my hands.
Yeah. That's weird.
Got a chair. He's got a chair. And I'm like, oh, Lord. So, honest to God, he started praying, and I felt like wind.
Oh, my goodness.
And this peaceful feeling like I can't explain.
Yeah, it was Jesus, man.
And I just started like laughing, and the guy's like, "Oh man, you got the Holy Ghost!"
Oh wow!
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So he brings me inside. He's, "John just got the Holy Ghost. He got the Holy Ghost." And I'm like,
"Hit revival is the Bible study, man."
I don't know what's going on.
John's like, "I don't know what happened."
So I got past that, and I went out.
Yeah.
I never went to church. I just
I
said,
so you got saved, you had a spiritual encounter, and you went partying.
I said, I mean, it was my imagination.
Yeah.
It was my imagination, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
What happened was a light got turned on that I couldn't turn off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So months and months and months go by. I'm not going to church or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, just forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I started changing.
Yeah.
That whatever entered me, the Holy Ghost, started changing me from the inside. So I really wasn't fitting in with that crowd anymore.
Yeah. And you
started feeling weird.
Yeah.
So then I called up the people after months that invited me to the Bible study. I said, look, I think I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Why? I said, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
They said, no, you received the Holy Ghost. You're out of fellowship.
Yeah.
You ought to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I said, what I got to do? I said, you better get in church.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be around people that experience the same thing as you.
Yeah.
You go around people that don't, you feel like.
Yep. You're going crazy.
You're going crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I started going to church.
Yeah.
And that was Victory.
Yeah.
Victory Temple in Kenner.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my wife. We got married. So on and so on. I'm still
what year did you get married?
Still in church. Got married in 1982.
Mm-hmm. So 40 years ago. Coming up.
30. Yeah, it's coming up 40.
39 years.
It's coming up 40 years.
Yeah. What's your anniversary? Put you on the spot. Don't watch Janet.
April 17th.
Oh, you know. Look at you, man. April 17th.
It's a lucky guess.
Yeah. 1982.
Every 17.
Yeah.
1982, that's right.
Yeah, so it'll be 39. Well, it just was 39 years recently.
It's 39 years. It could be 40.
Yeah. And you've been serving the Lord ever since that night. Slowly got transformed, but
it's been a long process.
You've been following
I'm
Jesus.
hard-headed as a son of a gun.
And you know what? I'm glad that God doesn't give up on us.
Right.
He saves us in our sin. And then he does the work of redemption and the work of sanctification over a period of time.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes it doesn't happen at the snap of a finger. Sometimes God just slowly moves into our lives.
Changes.
He's very gentle.
Changes. It's a process.
He's very patient.
It's a process.
Yeah. So probably another 40, 50 years he'll be done with you. Yeah.
So and then understanding grace was understanding that it's not what I do, it's what he did.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me want to do things contrary to God.
Right.
It makes me want to appreciate.
Yeah. I want to follow
and
Jesus.
live.
Right. I want to live
and so you reap what you sow anyway. So you want to stay in line.
Yeah.
Here's the instructions. Let's try to follow them.
Yeah. So you met this amazing woman. How did you and Janet meet? What was the story behind that?
We went to the same school, high school together, and then
Catholic school.
No, that was
public high school.
It was high school.
Gotcha.
When I went to high school, I went to Kennedy.
Did you?
And so I knew her from even when I was a teenager a little bit. And I dated her one time, and that was that.
She wrote you off.
And then what happened was I ran into right after I started going to church, and I was on fire.
Yeah.
I was like an apostle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
You're from partying to
I had
apostleship.
a Jewish friend came in from out of town, and we were going out, and I was telling him all about Jesus and everything, and said, "Man, let's go. There's a Chinese restaurant over there. Let's go eat some Chinese food." So we went in there, and there was Janet and one of her friends. Oh. And they said, "Well, no, hey man, how y'all doing? Y'all come sit with us."
Yeah.
So we sat with them, and my friend said, "Look, do not ask this guy anything about Jesus. He's going to preach to you."
So he told them in front of you?
Yes. Oh yeah, we're sitting at the table. Please don't get him.
Don't bring up Jesus.
Don't get him started or anything. And
yeah.
So Janet goes, "Really? No, I read the Bible."
Yeah.
Really? I said, "Really?" So she was actually living in New York at the time. So I started writing to her. And I wrote my testimony and all that.
Wait, like on paper and pen?
Yes. Yeah. We didn't have that.
Wait, people still... I love that. Stories that people wrote letters to each other.
I still have those letters.
So you wrote letters to Janet?
Yeah, they didn't have a computer.
I know. Email. Yeah. Text
no email,
messaging,
no nothing.
No social media.
No.
You had to write it, put it in an envelope.
Put a stamp
put a sticker on it.
She'd get it 2 weeks later.
Hand it to a stranger and say, "Hey, bring us to New York for me if you don't mind." Man, what a crazy system, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You write this letter, stick it in an envelope, put a sticker on it, and tell somebody, "Hey, bring it to New York."
Mm-hmm. They bring it to New York.
And they did. And so Janet read your letters. And
she wrote back. She was from here, so when she came to visit her parents, her friend, and us, we'd all go like to church or Bible study or something like that. And
So were you?
They all still Christians too. So
were you writing love letters or just friend letters?
No, I was just writing. Mostly like my testimony.
But you like
what I discovered in life,
Yeah, but you
what helped me.
Yeah,
and it actually helped her too.
Yeah.
And so you don't know where a person's at because to me it was like she was an executive in New York.
Wow.
And I was like, not.
Yeah, you were a musician in New Orleans.
Yeah. And
who
just
got saved. Who accidentally got saved at a Bible study.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
You stumbled into a Bible study, got filled with the Holy Ghost.
I know.
And God changed the
and
course.
Couldn't turn that light off.
I know. It's like you tried your best to.
Yeah.
You tried to run from it. You tried to hide it. Yeah. But he just won't give up on you, man.
No, he doesn't. No.
He just won't give up on you. And God, John, you live a life that is just marked with so much grace, man. I mean, the things that you've been able to do, places that you've been able to go, the people that you've met. I mean, it's just an incredible story of God's grace. Like you said, I didn't understand grace, but the good news is God's grace understands us.
Right.
He comes along just when we need him, even when we don't know that we need him.
And then so many of these things, the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
That it happened.
Yeah.
And it had to be God.
Yeah, you're right.
Involved because it's
you're right. Yeah, and timing is so key in the kingdom of God. Sometimes we rush and we miss our visitation.
Oh yeah.
Or we don't even show up at all. Like had you pulled out of that parking lot when Paul McCartney pulled in 5 minutes earlier. Or if you decided to go to the other studio.
Right.
I mean, you can say that's a coincidence or that's I don't know. I just
Or if I wouldn't have chose to eat Chinese food
there you go.
to run into my wife.
Yeah, and y'all sat down, and your Jewish friend was was dissing you in front of them, like, don't ask this dude about Jesus.
I know. And if I wouldn't have tore my rotator cuff,
Yeah,
wouldn't have did the movie.
yeah, you wouldn't have met Matthew McConaughey.
I would have never.
Yeah. Can you hook me up with Matthew McConaughey tonight? Could you? Give us a
I
phone
actually
call?
didn't meet him. I did the scene with him, and then he went.
Yeah, well, you met him for a few seconds.
Yeah, for a few
'cause I saw the movie. And,
I did a scene with him.
Yeah, you were in the scene. Yeah, John
Yeah,
Taylor. Yeah.
I just mumbled a little bit, and then I went home.
Yeah, yeah, and you had one arm you couldn't even raise up, which is you could tell in the movie that you had a rotator cuff. You're like, your stamping thing, did it hurt when you did
It
the stamp?
hurt.
Did it hurt? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a.
So you had to really act, huh?
Yeah, and I took a pain pill before.
Yeah, you had to like, boys.
I was like in pain.
Yeah.
I was in pain.
Was there more than one take of that scene? Or y'all did
Two. It was just two.
So you had to stamp it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think they were going to cut that out of the movie?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you?
I just figured, no, they ain't gonna keep that. They ain't gonna keep that part.
Yeah, I was in Rachel and I when I was in Bible college. Back then they weren't paying $100. I didn't make $100, but they had like 2,000 of us extras, and we were filming in Tiger Stadium.
Oh yeah,
a movie that was called, what was that? Everybody's All American.
Oh yes, I remember
that
movie. Yes,
you had been there too as an extra. There's a lot of us, man. we were struggling to make ends meet, and Rachel saw the ad in the newspaper. There's an old word. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw an ad, $50 a night if you'll come, but you had to stay all night. You had to go from like 9 until 6 in the morning because they filmed it at night. And then they moved you around the stadium so they can get a crowd. So they would pan the camera, and then they would move us.
Yeah,
2,000 right. So it looked like there were 70,000 people in the stadium, but it was the same 2,000 of us. You know, so we moved all night long. Mm-hmm. It was miserable, and every 4 hours or whatever, we got a break. We had to go down there, and they had sandwiches that I don't know. It felt like somebody backed over them with a truck.
Y'all made $50
each.
Each?
We had $100, man. Shh. Dude, back in, that was in the 80s. That was a lot of money, man. $100? Are you kidding me?
I know. My
$100. We were like buy groceries, man, the next day. And we did that for a while, just being extras. But, I can't remember who the star of that movie was. Man.
I remember the movie.
Yeah, Everybody's All American. Anyway, I'll think of it after this is over. But he came out for his one scene that night. And they were doing a play on the field. So there was a body double doing almost all of the work. He came out maybe like 15 seconds. I mean, I'm not kidding. He jogged out in his uniform. They did the play, and he jogged back out. I mean, he may have been 15 seconds, just enough to get his face on the camera, and we never saw him again.
Yep.
Yeah, so,
So I was actually, years and years ago, they had an ad like that for JFK.
Yeah.
The movie JFK.
Oh, yeah.
And I was an extra in that.
Wow.
And that was moons ago, many moons ago.
Yeah.
So then, but I've worked with 50 different movies.
50?
50, yeah.
What's some of the most memorable that you've done besides Dallas Buyers Club?
Let's see, The Green Card.
Haven't seen that one.
Of course, Dallas Buyers Club. Sheesh.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I am on the spot.
Yeah. Were you in any of Charlton Heston's movie, like 10 Commandments?
No, Charlton Heston.
That was probably before your time.
I was in Seeking Justice.
Oh, yeah?
I was in, a couple of TV programs, too. Treme.
Yeah.
And Queen of the South.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
The one that just recently?
I don't know. So you've been in 50 movies and TV series. That's a lot.
Because once you get in that clique,
Yeah. Did you ever get like an actor's card or anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
You ever get an agent?
Then you got to pay dues.
Yeah. Don't want to do that.
It costs your money.
Because you're making $100 a night, so you really can't afford to pay.
You don't need to belong to that unless you do if you do like 3 speaking roles and
you get an agent.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you join SAG.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, that's why my checks come from SAG anyway.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if your name is still available with the Screen Actors Guild, like John Taylor. Is there another famous John?
No,
Taylor?
I don't think.
Yeah. So
I don't think.
So
I never did do that and get the credits and all that because I never took it serious.
Is your name in the credits for Dallas Buyers Club?
No, because what happened was I checked out wrong.
Yeah.
That day.
Yeah.
They were supposed to bump me up to, it's called the day player or a bit player.
Right.
And I didn't. I checked out as an extra.
Oh, man.
And I didn't know. So, I left.
It's your first big break. You didn't know.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So the next movie I went to go do, this little lady came up to me and I said, yeah, I did a little speaking role. And she said, did you get paid for it? I said, I don't think. I said, I kind of checked out as an extra. No, you need to do this. She wrote down a name. I had to call people and tell them. I said, well, I checked out wrong.
Yeah.
I said, really? So, well, give us the date and all that kind of stuff. So they did all that kind of stuff. And then I didn't know I was going to get royalties.
Oh, they did you right? I mean, they took care of
they took care of it.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Even though you made the mistake.
They said, well, we owe you $700, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
Really? Send it to me.
Yeah, mail it. Mail me that check, boy.
And then they said, well, what happened was when I went to Walmart and my picture was on the back, a lot of people started asking, will you get extra for that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. My picture's never been on the back of a DVD before.
My first movie.
I don't know. So I called the lady from SAG.
Yeah.
And I said, the movie came out, my picture's on the back. People are asking me. I said, I don't know it.
Yeah.
Do I get extra for that? She goes, I've never had that situation. I'm going to have to research it and call you back.
Yeah.
So she called me back and she said, I got good news and bad news. I said, well, what's the good news? She goes, millions of people are going to see your picture.
Yeah.
Bad news is when you sign that voucher,
Yeah.
They can use your image any way they want.
Oh, that's
She goes, but your royalty check should still come. I said, what royalty checks?
Oh, my gosh.
She said, you get royalty checks from the movie.
Yeah.
It's like 0.00001.
Whatever. Bring
My
it.
first check was $1,800.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
So it's been 6 years or so,
Yeah.
and I still get checks.
John, that was a good day's work, man. With a torn rotator cuff.
Because I tore my rotator cuff.
They're still paying you. You and
So if you're going through a
so
disaster.
you and Matthew are still getting
if you're going through a
royalties.
disaster,
Yeah.
look for opportunity.
Dude, that's a great word, man.
It's the truth.
Yeah, even when you're going through a disaster,
That's right.
God's always doing more than what you can see with your natural
Look what came
eye.
out of a disaster.
Yeah, man.
I was literally scared to death.
That
We
you
were
wouldn't-
going to go broke.
90 days with no income. How would you make it through that?
That's right.
Oh, well, you can do a movie and write a book.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, man, that would have happened?
And the funny thing is I called my work,
Yeah,
which I work for the school board,
yeah.
and I said, I'm going to be out 3 months. He said, well, did you file for workman's comp? I said, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Why not? I said, I just started the job.
Yeah.
And I got injured.
I mean, they're 2 hours.
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe you can get the principal to maybe backdate it or something.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, I'll survive.
Yeah.
But then they started sending checks.
Honest man.
They started sending my checks, 75% of my salary.
Wow.
And so Janet said, well, you better call them because we're going to have to pay that money back. They made a mistake.
Yeah.
So I called them and they said, no, we have a special deal where we, if you're out, it's extended sick leave. You must have filled out a lot of paperwork.
Wow. It's just the grace of God.
So I was getting that,
Yeah.
the movies.
The book. International fame, hanging out with
No.
Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't try for any
I know,
of this.
it's crazy.
I really didn't. I didn't.
All you did was went for
I
100
never set out to do a book.
Right.
I never set out to meet a Beatle.
To be in
I
a
never
movie?
set out to be in a movie, anything. I just I
Yeah.
just look for opportunities.
And sometimes God brings us the greatest things when we don't force them,
Right.
when we want to make it to happen. You know, we just, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. And just, I got a torn rotator cuff. I can't work. I don't have any money. Okay, what do you just get up and you took $100 a night extra job, and
That's
it
right.
turned into
More.
yeah. And God is always like that, man. He's always looking out for us.
That's right.
You know, even when we can't tell.
That's right.
Yeah, man, John, I have enjoyed our conversation.
I
man.
have too.
And I wish we had another hour because there's so much more. of
So
your story
part
to
two
tell.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to do it. Maybe in a couple of months, can you come back?
Sure.
And let's talk some more. Yeah, because I know you got another huge story to tell that we can't tell tonight. But
That's right.
God's doing some huge things in your life, you know. And I just want to say, John, you know, I've been knowing you for 25 years, you know, and Rachel and I just treasure our friendship with you and Janet.
And we do too.
We treasure our friendship, man. It's just like one of those gifts from God.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah, we love you too, man. And you know, sometimes it's people like you and Janet in our lives, we just take for granted because you guys are just such solid friends, period. You know, it's like the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Well, John and Janet's going to be there. You know, it's just people you can count on, people that you believe in, people that you love, people that you can laugh with, you know, people that you can share their stories. And, you know, thank you for coming to our podcast and telling us some of your stories about about Paul McCartney and Sean and Linda McCartney and
Matthew.
Yeah, being in Matthew's movie. As we get ready to close, didn't Matthew produce that movie? Like he was like the executive producer.
Yeah.
So it was his own deal. He was the producer, the star.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to touch it.
Yeah, and now you and he are still reaping those those residual checks, man.
Yeah, he's probably
his may be a little bit bigger than yours.
a little bit,
possibly.
A little bit.
There's probably no
double.
zeros before his dot. Yeah, I'm sure.
I think he did okay with that.
Yeah,
he took a shot.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
That's good.
Hey, this is Doug McAllister, and it has been a pleasure talking with my friend John Taylor tonight. And thanks for joining us on Stories I Didn't Get to Tell last Sunday. This is Journey Fellowship Church's weekly podcast, and we are excited that you have found us and that you've joined in. On the Journey app, you can see all the past episodes. We have a number of them already posted there, and we're making new ones constantly. But we just wanted you to know some of the great stories of people's lives who make up Journey Fellowship Church, people like John Taylor. You know, and John, thank you for sharing your story with us tonight, or your stories. It's been a joy.
Thank you for inviting me.
If you don't have a home church, come visit Journey. We're in Slidell, Louisiana. If you're on the North Shore, we're on Pontchartrain Drive across from the new Walmart. We'd love to get to know you. You can find out more about us at journeyfellowshipchurch.com. Better yet, go to your app store and download the Journey app. Type Journey Fellowship Church in the search bar. Our app will pop up. It's complimentary. We want you to have it. It's chock full of resources, past sermons, how to get connected. You can watch the podcast. You can also read my blog. Lots of ways to get connected at Journey. Find a small group. Get involved in Sunday morning. Lots of ways to get connected in the body of Christ here at Journey. So, been a joy having you here today with John Taylor. I'm Doug McAllister, and this has been Stories I Didn't Get to Tell last Sunday.